started on game 3 for these for the best of 5 series between these guys. Let's jump into the game and let's see what map Mike has chosen as his home map. What the hell? Okay, fair enough. I'm not gonna say anything about it. No, I will say something about it. Okay, so welcome back everyone to the best of 5 series between Mike and Mooshoo for the Division B bracket. We're in Group 4 here, still in the first round, and we've got a Nomad game, which is something interesting. It's not quite what I was expecting, to be completely honest, because in the previous game it was a Nomad game. It was a Nomad map, which was the home map of Mike. No, sorry, the home map of Mooshoo. Mike lost, and at the end he said some very strong words about the Nomad map, and then he's gone ahead and chosen he's chosen Nomad. So not really sure what that's all about. Maybe he wants to get a little bit of revenge on his opponent, or maybe he's just taken one too many knocks to the head, or maybe he's I got nothing. Either way, he's chosen Nomad, and he's chucking his town centre out here toward the eastern area of the map. And he's playing as the Aztecs in the blue. He's also thrown down his first dock, and his dock position is a lot better than his dock position in the previous game. Unfortunately, it's not too bad. Here would have been better, but it's minor details which I don't really think are going to matter too much, at least for players of our kind of level. His opponent Mooshoo playing in the red once again over here further toward the western kind of area of the map, playing in the Mike's playing as the Persians, not the Aztecs. With the Aztecs pick has come over here for Mooshoo playing in the red. He has not chucked down a dock just yet, but it looks like he's moving over here to throw down a dock, and it's going to be interesting to see how that goes down. Now, the civilization picks, Mike has chosen typical Nomad civs for his past 2 games. Obviously, in the previous game, he chose China, and now he's choosing Persia. Very, very strong Nomad civilizations. Mooshoo, on the other hand, chose Koreans in the previous game, and we saw exactly why, and we know exactly why that is. And now he's chosen Aztecs. Now, I don't know, from what I've seen of Mooshoo play, he doesn't seem like he's a standard meta kind of player. I mean, we saw a Drush on Nomad from him in the previous game, for example. We saw Trushing as Mayans on the coastal map. The only thing that I could potentially be thinking that he wants to do here as he throws up his town centre, again on stone, maybe he wants to go for a Trush, but Aztecs don't really get any Trushing kind of build, or Trushing kind of bonuses. Maybe he wants to go for a monk rush. Obviously, Aztecs get fantastic monks, the best monks in AOC. Maybe he wants to be going for a monk rush, something a little less standard, something a little more anti-meta, for want of a better term. Maybe he just wants to get the Aztecs because maybe he chose the Aztecs because he wants to get a really strong economy and boom up to Imperial Age, where he can just flood his opponent's base with Eagle Warriors. I really don't know. I'm not sure what the pick was here, but Mike having a wee bit of a Is that oh, it is trapped. Oh, that's really, really unfortunate. Oh my goodness gracious me. You're going to have to delete the house, buddy. That villager is completely idle. Well, that's not true. You can cut your villager out. Clicking on this tree, cutting it, get 10 food, click on another resource and cut your way out, but that will take quite a long time. Unfortunately, you won't get any resources out of it. Now, Mooshoo still not having thrown down a dock, which is something that we saw in the previous game as well. It took quite a while to throw down his dock. Now let's have a look at the resource placements, or locations rather, for both of these players here. Now we can see there's one stone pile here against which Mike is building a house. What else have he got? Well, he's got some gold toward the he's got some gold towards the northern area of his map, or just on the other side of this forest. More stone down here as well to the southern portion of his map. What else have we got? We've got gold sort of near him as well, and then 2 extra gold piles as well as a stone toward the northern flank of his map here. So in terms of resources, he's not looking in a bad position. He can come out here and chuck down a TC in this area, because it's a terrible map. Why did he choose it as his home map then? Not really sure. Maybe he wanted to get the luck factor against his opponent, but I thought a more standard map pick would have been better for him, as it seems like he is more or less a stronger player than Mooshoo when it comes down to the meta sort of standard builds. But anyway, Mooshoo, what about his? Well, he's got stone on his TC. He's got a couple of golds very, very close to his town centre as well. And that is pretty much it, actually. He's got another stone just a little bit north of his TC, which he could move out and take. But of course, it looks like he might not be too interested in that for the time being, as he does have a stone mine, a stone pile here that he can take from. The extra resources on the map, I think I've actually gone over and scouted all of them out. So now we're just going to have to wait and see what these two players decide to do as they build up their economies. Now, obviously, the Persians have fantastic knights. Yeah, they've got fantastic knights. They do get the +2 attack bonus against archer units. And you know, if the Aztec player, if Mooshoo here, was going to go for any sort of castle age aggression, the meta would suggest that it's going to be the meta would suggest that he would be going crossbows, but I don't know. Again, Mooshoo doesn't seem to be the meta kind of player. Maybe he'd want to go for Eagle Warriors in the castle age, but even then, Persian Knights, they're fully upgraded, they're fantastically strong, and they're just going to be able to chew through those Eagle Warriors like hot butter, or like a hot knife through cold butter, rather. But for the time being, the villager lead actually in favour of Mike, not to mention that he does have one extra fishing ship out over his opponent, working hard now as well, probably owing to the fact that the Persian town centres do work that little bit quicker, as well as the Persian docks pumping out units from there quicker as well. Now, I can't for the time being see any sort of strategy choices for either of these players. So let's have a look now at the relic positions, because that's something we didn't really need to and didn't go over in the previous game. So we can see one relic here, very, very close to the southern corner or the southern edge of Mooshoo's base. What else can we see? Let's turn on the resource overlay for the map. We have another relic here as well, pretty close to Mike. Another relic right here, very, very close to Mike as well. A relic toward the northern area of the map, and I seem to be blind, but it's out here towards the western flank of the map. So relic placement's really pretty even for both of these players, considering they can get one relic quite easily each, and then there's going to be this relic in the middle over which they can contest if they did decide to go for that sort of play style. And obviously, if we're going to see monk rushes coming in from our Aztec player here, then yeah, he may as well go out and start grabbing the relics as well. But no, we're not going to see that at all. Mooshoo doesn't want to do that. He wants to play the 5 militia drush game once again, and in this case, I think that is a bit of a mistake, in my opinion. Again, drushing on Nomad, it could be fun, it could be funny, and it could be quite anti-meta and catch your opponent off guard, but it's only going to be effective if your opponent has villages that are away from the town centre. Now, unlike Arabia or some standard map like that, where you'll send villages out to berries, you'll send villages potentially out to deer, you'll send villages out to wood, which is generally going to be pretty far away from your town centre. The villages on a Nomad map start with their resources pretty much underneath their town centre, which means that any militia, any drush coming in is going to be pretty much useless. And on this occasion anyway, for our red player Mooshoo. But you never know, he might be able to make it work. He did make it work somewhat effectively in the previous game, as it allowed him to get a little bit of map control with his military presence. But we'll have to wait and see how this one does actually play out for him. So for the time being, we still just have to wait and see what these guys are going to do. They're just going to build up their economies, and we're going to have to wait and see what sort of strategies they do decide to go for. We still haven't seen any stone being taken for our Aztec player yet, so he's not going to go for the drush into trush or man-at-arms forward or anything like that. And Mike, again, a very, very defensible location, a very defensible base, but the only problem I have is that if any forward aggression comes in from this area of his base here, then he's not going to be able to expand, he's not going to be able to boom back into any sort of any other area, especially if Mooshoo does come down here and start pronging his attack like he has done in the previous games, putting watchtowers up in multiple locations of Mike's economy. Whereas the same thing cannot be said for Mooshoo. If he starts to get pressured off this front area of his economy, he still has some area back here into which he can move and boom and recover and rebuild his economy. Although in saying that, Mike is starting now to move down to take gold. Is that a gold mining operation he's doing down here? What's he doing? No, he's going to start taking the deer. Okay, he's about to be able to click up to the feudal age as well. In fact, if he dropped off all the resources on these villages here, he would be able to click up to the feudal age very quickly. He is quite fortunate that he has a couple of deer patches that he's going to be able to supplement his food income with, as well as getting out those fishing ships. It looks like a fast castle build, more or less on the cards here for our red player, sorry, our blue player even, Mike. Now what have we got? Well, we've got the militia moving around the map here for Mooshoo, and obviously the scouting. He still has not scouted his opponent. That's what he's going to go out and start doing now. He should be able to, well, obviously guess that his opponent is somewhere over on this area of the map, as he has scouted his starting area and starting location pretty gosh darn thoroughly. But Mike, having clicked up to the feudal age now, we turn the fog of war off. Has he moved out to gold absolutely anywhere? No, he has not moved out to gold just yet. Unfortunately, this is what I was saying. This is what I was saying. The drush from Mooshoo only going to be effective, only going to be worthwhile if the villages from Mike are quite far away from the town centre, and this has just been a complete and utter waste of wood and a complete and utter waste of villager time. And unfortunately, actually walling one of his villagers out, he is pretty much sentenced her to death. He says, yep, you know what, you've got little HP anyway, you are not one of the chosen ones, you are the weakest link, goodbye, and you are probably going to die now as well. It's for the greater good. This is definitely what we all want. It's what has to happen. And Mike being able to secure himself just a little bit now, placing some walls up, and he should be fine for the time being. But in saying that, a watchtower behind this wood line here would be really strong for Mooshoo as he goes around laming the deer. Don't really know whether or not there's any point laming the deer, as Mike can definitely not move out to take them anymore, since there are 5 militia. Well, actually, where are the other 2? There they are, still chasing down this now 1 HP villager, and with one swing of his club, he manages to knock her to the ground. So 22 villagers for Mooshoo, 24 villagers for Mike, as Mike now clicks up, or has now advanced to the feudal age. If we switch over to his point of view, we can have a look at what he's doing, apart from walling up like a madman. Well, he's going market, and I imagine he's going to be throwing up a blacksmith when he gets 15 more wood, and potentially buying his way up to the castle age. Well, there's the blacksmith. Could be a market blacksmith fast castle, but he's still quite a ways away. He doesn't have any extra floating resources to be able to click up to the castle age, so his build order a little bit off, not quite as on point as he needed it to be. Whereas Mooshoo is now moving out to gold as well, and he is up to the feudal age, seated enough farms, in my opinion, for the with the Aztec farming bonus to be able to get to the castle age in a really nice time once he advances as well. But what is actually going to happen here? The militia can still move around if they, for some reason, were to think, hey, let's move down into this black spot where if not scouted, then he would be able to find a couple of villages there that would be nice and easy to pick off. And there's a hole. There is always a hole, and sure, that villager is nice and safe for the time being, although I don't know why Mike decides to delete the, oh my god, I don't know why I deleted the palisades. That villager was nice and safe, but there are now just 5 militia running rampant inside of his base, and this is surely going to be another villager pick, as that pathing has just completely screwed her over. So there's another villager pick. 29 villagers somehow for Mike, 22 villagers for Mooshoo. The villagers also including the fishing ships, I'm not entirely sure. I'm not going to go through and count them, but what do we have here? Well, we have a double archery range production about to start occurring for Mooshoo, and this is a strong play for him. Barracks now being thrown up for Mike as well, thinking, hey, I need to get some military production going. I'm not going to be able to pull off this fast castle anymore, and with these 5 militia buzzing around inside my base, I really need to deal with them. Mooshoo bringing his 5 militia around, and Mike quickly walling up these 2 villages, but of course Mooshoo can still make his way around here and start picking them off. Unfortunately, looks like that barracks is going to be going up in good time for our blue player Mike here, as the 2 archery ranges being thrown up again. A very pivotal hill, a very important hill between the bases of these 2 players is the one on top of which these archery ranges are being built from Mooshoo. So really nice foreplay, really nice foresight into that positional play there from Mooshoo. Another villager inevitably going to be going down. And what do we see? We see archers being chucked out straight away from our red player Mooshoo. Now, if where can he actually hit his opponent? Well, he can hit his opponent's wood line right here. He'll just have to be sneaky and walk around these houses here and get in amongst all these lovely hard-working villagers. Would be able to go down, or would be going down very easily. And Mike up to the castle edge now. He thinks, hey, I'm nice and pretty and safe behind my walls. Well, no, because Mooshoo is going full aggression on this. He's going double archery range production, and he's going to be able to start picking off the villagers on the gold. And this is really going to hurt Mike. If we quickly switch over to his point of view, we can see that even once he gets into the castle age, he's not going to have the resources that he needs to be able to do anything. Although though the fact that Mooshoo is actually changing into knights here is a super strong option, or a super strong inevitability for the Persian player, because of what we mentioned earlier with the +2 attack bonus on the knights, which are inevitably going to be coming out of these two stables here. As we can see, scale barding armor coming in now for Mike as well. A mining camp being thrown up on the stone. Maybe he's looking to sell stone to get gold. Maybe. Isn't there a rule against choosing the same map twice? Did they misread the rules? Because this was Mike's home map that he should have chosen. Unless I've got my games round the wrong way. Maybe I've got my games around the wrong way. Maybe this was... Okay, I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure, but I didn't think that Mike would have chosen to do Nomad because he hates Nomad. So that's a little bit confusing for me. But anyway, we can see Scout Cavalry coming out, and this is not gonna fare well. This is absolutely the wrong decision in my opinion. The Man-at-Arms are going to be able to chew through those Scout Cavalry. There we go. Now he's getting out some Knights. That's what we want to see. The Knights is really what Mike needs here to be able to clean up this army. Scout Cavalry are just going to get absolutely chewed up and spat back out again by these Man-at-Arms, for example. The Knights coming out are going to get the +2 attack against these Archer units, and they're going to be really effective at pushing this back. If all Mooshoo needs to do now, just bring around a watchtower, place it on this wood line, or behind the wood line here from Mike, and he would be in a fantastic position to be able to push back. At a fantastic position to be able to really damage Mike's eco a lot more than he currently is doing. Obviously, +1 defense done on these Knights. They're still going to get taken down. There's still quite a bit of feudal age army here from Mooshoo. Unfortunately, Mike really needs to start taking these fights, but maybe not one knight at a time, with a couple of skirmishes, some archers and some men-at-arms firing upon one knight at a time. I don't care how strong knights are. I don't care if you get the +2 attack bonus against them. It's still not going to work out too well for you at all. Now, if we go over to Mooshoo's point of view, how far from the Castle Age is he? Well, he could probably buy himself up to the Castle Age. Obviously, he's been creating skirmishes for quite some time. If he halts the production of skirmishes and continues the production of archers, he would be in a fantastic position to be able to click up to the Castle Age. But for the time being, he doesn't actually need to go to the Castle Age because his feudal age army is dealing a lot of damage and a lot of economy damage to his opponent here. Mooshoo getting a little bit close to that town centre, and he's recognizing that and getting his army the heck out of the way. These Knights still only +1 defense having been done on them, and they're going down awfully quickly to the men-at-arms, to the archers, and even to the skirmishes here of Mooshoo. A town centre being thrown up on this gold pile, and again, like I said, if Mooshoo had just had the foresight to come forward, build a watchtower on this wood. I suppose he doesn't know that Mike was actually taking wood here, but if he had have done it, this town centre here would have been completely and utterly denied from Mike, and therefore that gold would also have been denied from by him, or from him as well, and that could have been really huge and really damaging as Mike continues or starts to wall up even more areas of his economy, wall up more areas of his base, because without this gold could be the saving grace that Mike actually needs to pull himself back into the game. But he's not actually that far behind either. It is 30 villages to 31 for the time being, and I'm quickly going to put on the fishing ship in the table just to see if that changes anything. No. Oh my goodness gracious me, the villager count is still 31 to 31. Mooshoo now up to the the Castle Age rather. But 14 fishing ships here for Mike. So economically, Mike is actually in still a really good position. It doesn't matter if he's losing, well, it kind of does, but it doesn't matter so much that he's losing a lot of villages inside of his economy when he's got this amount of fishing ships supplementing his food economy. He should be redocking. He should be redocking here. So he can take more efficient fish. For example, not these little tiddlers just outside of his dock. But like I said, Mike up to the Mooshoo even up to the Castle Age now as well, and what I would like to see from him once he gets up is to chuck down a monastery and really start pushing forward. Of course, the Aztec monks, super strong, and their monks are just generally great counters to knights or any slow moving cavalry like knights. Or even war elephants, which, you know, it's a possibility, but not a very realistic possibility. Or it's not a probability, rather, from the Persian player, but that would be fantastic to see as well. But anyway, Mooshoo up to the Castle Age now. I can only imagine that we will see the the crossbowmen and Bodkin era upgrades coming in pretty much straight away as well. But down here. Mike still continuing to try and wall up and keep his base completely and utterly safe. I do believe, no, he's still getting a little bit of harassment done over here. A couple of skirmishes and an archer managing to idle a few villagers inside this town centre from Mike, but they're going to get cleaned up eventually. And of course, the Persian town centres do work that little bit quicker. Maybe that makes sense as to why he is starting to pull ahead so significantly. Oh my goodness, 11 villages ahead is Mike for the time being. But the most important thing here is that the spearmen are coming forward. Double bidax. Oh God, double bidax only just coming in now for Mooshoo, and we can see now that he's getting all the eco upgrades and he's sort of foregoing any military. But the important thing for the time being is that this block down here, this area of Mike's economy, is still being kept open. Bit of a bugged knight there, never what you want to see when you're fighting against counter units. But of course, the +1 defense knights on these +1 defense Persian knights going to be able to push them back, push back the spearmen from Mooshoo quite easily. What do we see from Mooshoo then? What is he doing? Well, he's throwing up an extra town centre. Is he going to throw up another one? No, he's not. He's not making any military at all, foregoing military production completely for the time being. It looks like he's going to go for the 3 TC boom, and I can only imagine that he's going to be wanting to get to the Imperial Age as quickly as he can, whilst defending with a couple of pikemen posted around his base, I imagine, and then trying to get to the Imperial Age as quick as he can with the fantastically strong Aztec economy, and then flood his opponent's base with Eagle warriors. Obviously, it's an interesting strategy choice because if you get into the late stages of the game like that, then the Persians can actually get hand cannons out to counter the infantry of the Aztecs quite easily. But we'll have to wait and see how that actually goes down. For the time being, it looks like it's just going to be a bit of a boom fest, a bit of a yawn, bit of a boom fest between these two players here. As we can see, 57 villages to 32. Those Persian town centres for Mike just working completely and utterly in overdrive here. And his economy is really starting to flourish from it as well. Starting to see a good amount of farms, meaning he's going to be able to get up to the Imperial Age in a decent time as well. And again, Mike just making sure that he can keep his base nice and secure and nice and safe, buying a bit of extra stone, maybe looking to get up another town centre somewhere. Obviously, the stone walls means that he wasn't able to get both of his town centres up straight away. Where is he going to throw his next one? He's going to throw it up here. So yeah, Mike's just going to go for a boom. Mooshoo's just going to go for a boom as well, although he is finally researching the crossbowman upgrade. Maybe he just wants to get a little bit of a boom going and then push forward with crossbows. But again, once the upgrades really start coming in on those Persian knights, they're just going to absolutely melt away those crossbows from the Aztec player. So going crossbows by themselves is not really, oh my goodness gracious me, going crossbows by themselves not really too viable an option for the Aztecs against a Persian player. Backing it up with knights, fantastic, a really strong option in my opinion. But again, I settle back on the fact that it looks like these two guys just want to boom up for a little bit, and in that respect I feel like Mike is definitely going to have the advantage owing to the fact that he has quicker TCs and he is now up on the same amount of town centers as his opponent. Of course, the farming economy bonus that the Aztecs get means that they are going to be able to get to the Imperial Age very quickly and be able to flood eagles from just the amount of farms that they needed to get up to the Imperial Age. No more farms will have to be seeded after that. Of course, we will have to wait and see who does get up to the Imperial Age first. Mike looking like his food count is starting to get relatively high. If we flick over to Mooshoo's point of view, the same cannot unfortunately be said, owing to the fact that I guess he was in the Castle Age somewhat later than his opponent, owing to the fact that he did a 5 militia drush and followed it up with some forward aggression in the feudal age. Getting a nice villager pick here though, bringing the villager deficit only to 18. Only a minuscule 18 villagers separates these two players at the moment. Oh, the knight. Oh my goodness, okay. Well, that crossbow's dead. Not even a question about it. The knights from Mike. Okay, while he's walling up and keeping himself nice and safe, he's going to start sending his knights out. Either he wants to get a little bit of scouting information done, seeing like, right, alright, what's my opponent doing? Is he going to start pushing forward with anything? Or is he just sitting back and booming like I am as well? And for the time being, he knows, okay, cool, there's 2 archery rangers up on top of this hill. That's fantastic, that's fine. Horse collar only now just coming in for Mike as well. A bit late, but better late than never, I guess you could say. And if he sends his knights into the economy here of Mooshoo, then he'll be able to see, okay, this is what Mooshoo's doing. He's booming, he's booming, he's booming. This is fine, this suits me just fine. Because the late game, I almost want to say that the Aztecs fall potentially short of the of the Persians. Obviously, Persians able to get Paladin as well as those hand cannons to pretty much counter a lot of the army. That as well as Hussar to counter monks. The Persians can field units to counter the army composition from the Aztecs quite well. And it seems like Mooshoo, to his credit, is actually starting to get very, very close to being able to click up to the Imperial Age as well. Mike, on the other hand, going for a more substantial boom, up on 74 villages. If he just halted villager production for just a little bit and sent some more villagers over onto gold, for example, deleting these walls, send these guys over onto gold, which actually is what he's doing right now, he would be able to click up very, very soon. We can see a siege workshop being thrown up sort of on the front of his base for the time being. A couple of knights getting cleaned up inside of Mooshoo's base. What scouting did he get? Well, he got no scouting. He can see now, though, that he does have 2 town centres. A couple of monks now coming forward for Mike, and he's playing a really, really strong game for the time being. Anyway, another stable being thrown up for Mike, so he is definitely ready to click up to the Imperial Age soon. But in saying that, is he going knights? That is not something... It's what he did in the previous game as well when he was the Chinese. He didn't have to. He made scouts, and he should not have made scouts because it just delayed his uptime. If he just cancelled all of these knights and clicked up to the Imperial Age, he would be in a much, much better position. Obviously, with these pikes having come out, they're not that well upgraded. I'll give him that. But with the pikes coming out, and the Aztec monks also, that's cheeky, and the Aztec monks also able to come out from Mooshoo here, then wow, Mooshoo's only just getting fletching. I thought his crossbows had bodkin. Christ, they don't have any upgrades. No wonder they weren't doing anything to the knights. But yeah, no. In my opinion, I think if Mike had have just halted knight production until he clicked up to the Imperial Age and then started putting his foot on the gas pedal or on the accelerator in terms of military production and not getting all these upgrades now, because it's just delaying his uptime. And at the moment, what he wants is he wants the element of surprise, more or less. He wants to be able to stomp his opponent into the ground with his technological advantage. And at the moment, these monks or these pikes that are being able to defend his Mooshoo's economy. It's just the three pikes for the time being are forcing away this cavalcade, this horde of Persian cavalry. Although in saying that, the monks are coming forward now as well and grabbing a couple of conversions on those pikes. Really, really well played from Mike. And I was saying cheeky before because these stone walls here are very, very cheeky and maybe a little bit optimistic as well. But like I said, I'd like to see Mike just halt production of villages, halt production of military just for the time being, get himself up to the Imperial Age, because that's where he's really going to win this game. I mean, he might be able to push and he might be able to win in the Castle Age. In fact, he is looking like he's in a very, very strong, demanding position to do that. But he doesn't have any definitive counters, at the moment at least, to these pikemen. Sure, he's got some monks to get a couple of conversions, but if he brings his knights into the fray to start taking out these pikes, they're just not going to be cost-effective and cost-efficient fights for him. And we can see the crossbowmen are now going to have bodkin arrow on, now going to have the bodkin arrow upgrade as well for Mooshoo, meaning these monks, they're not going to be sticking around for too much longer at all. But in saying that, some nice knight raiding coming in the economy here, +2 knights, bloodlines also having been just researched with iron casting on the way. And maybe Mike was watching Fletch versus Sir Lawrence, and he thinks, hey, it was quite good what Fletch did to Sir Lawrence there. He just flooded his economy with knights. Maybe I can do the same. And for the time being, the 100 villages to 69 really is starting to pay dividends here for Mike. Again, get up to the Imperial Age, mate. If the Imperial Age upgrade was in right now and you had this amount of cavalier running around or roaming around inside of your opponent's base, this would be absolutely GG. But it's looking really hard for it's looking really bad for Mooshoo, rather, to be able to come back from this. Switching over to his point of view, he was mining stone. Was he looking to throw up a castle? Well, yeah, he can throw up a defensive castle, but for the time being, I don't think he would actually be able to get it up without losing too many villages. And saying that, does it look like he's going to try with these builders? Where is he going to build it? No, he's building more and more barracks out the front of his base. Aztecs, unfortunately, only getting pikemen, which is another reason, an absolutely another reason why the Persian player Mike here should be getting himself up to the Imperial Age, because the pikemen upgrade really, they don't do a heck, or the pikemen don't do a heck of a lot to they don't do a heck of a lot to the Paladin or the Cavalier and Paladin as the as the Halberdier do as well. But more barracks being thrown up. Like I said, so it looks like the pike defense is going to be coming out thick and strong for our red player from Australia here at Mooshoo. Going back over to Mike's point of view, a little bit of a halting on the economy, please. Now click up to the Imperial Age. get to the Imperial Age and just flood your opponent's base. Click up to the Imperial Age. You've got a monastery, you've got a siege workshop. You are well and truly able to click up to the Imperial Age. There we go. The Imperial Age upgrade has finally been clicked, and I can almost say that once the Imperial Age upgrade comes in, plate barding armor, we're going to be seeing Cavalier, potentially chemistry, followed up by some really fun to see hand cannons to just chew through the infantry spam that we can see. Well, not the infantry spam, but the infantry counter that Mooshoo is chucking out right now would be fantastic to see. We can see an archery range also being thrown up now for Mike. Maybe he wants to get out crossbows. Maybe he is going to start preparing for those inevitable hand cannons that he wants to bring out to counter the pikemen from his Aztec counterpart here. But Mike has this game in the grasp of his hand, fully upgraded knights, and now Mike can really step on the gas pedal in terms of military production. But just when I say that he's allowed to and that he can, he actually stops. Does he have his farming eco sorted? Well, he doesn't quite have enough farms, in my opinion. He needs more farms. Knights are not cheap on gold. They're not cheap when it comes to food either. And why not start seeing a crap ton more farms? You've got a lot of wood in the bank. Bring some villagers down here, finish off this wall and start farming in here. Get a lot of farms up and just start flooding your opponent's base. A siege workshop coming up on the front as well, and this is a nice hill here that he can start, if he moves into, he can start launching really solid, efficient attacks into the economy of Mooshoo. But at the same time, now Mike knows exactly what's going on. Oh, he's going down the Eagle Warrior route. Once again, the Aztecs are just going to fall short here. Forging coming in to give these Eagle Warriors just a little bit more staying power, or a little bit more power against the Knights, but it's not going to be enough. The Imperial Age upgrade, like I said, that's going to be the nail in the coffin for Mooshoo. Unfortunately for him, a couple of crossbows down here to the south of the map, trying to do a little bit of raiding into the economy here of Mike. But the Imperial Age upgrade is in. He doesn't actually have the resources to be able to do anything but Blast Furnace. Again, the decision to go for Blast Furnace over Cavalier, he's getting Cavalier now too. Okay, the decision to go for Blast Furnace over Plate Barding Armor, in my opinion, is the wrong one. But maybe he just wants to be able to deliver those finishing blows, those death blows to the villagers inside of Mooshoo's economy a little bit more. Now Mooshoo recognizing, hey, I need to get up to the Imperial Age as well, using the market, doing a bit of market magic, and unfortunately he hasn't balanced his economy well enough because he has no gold left, and that's really huge for him, because he does need a lot of gold to be able to keep these Eagle Warriors coming out. Obviously the Eagle Warriors do get a slight bonus damage against cavalry, but it would not be considered a direct counter to them, and Mike is just going to be able to start overrunning and just overwhelming the economy of Mooshoo here very soon. Obviously the maneuverability and the mobility of the Knights are also going to be acting in his favor over the pikemen and the Eagle Warriors for Mooshoo. Mike buying a little bit of food again. His food eco, so, I mean, to be fair, it's starting to get up there. He does have 130 villages. That's pretty much all you need. Maybe go for an extra couple just to be able to keep your military production up. But again, this is not the kinds of fights that you want to be taking. Sure, Plate Barding Armor with Cavalier is super strong against pikemen, but you still need to be taking those fights a little more effectively. And this is again where I'd like to see chemistry coming in, because if there were hand cannons mixed into his the army composition here for Mike, then it would be GG well and truly. Doing 27 damage against these infantry units would be absolutely super strong. But instead we see Capped Ram. We saw Capped Ram coming in for Mike, rather. Plate Barding Armor for the +4 defense. Very good option in my opinion. And it looks like Mike is really going to be wanting to start to close this game out, as you know what they say, you bring in mangonels to apply pressure, but you bring in the Rams to finish the game. Unfortunately, this is not what Mike wants to see. He does not want to see Eagle Warriors coming inside of his base. As I've mentioned before, Eagle Warriors are just like crumbs in your bed. They are just so hard to get out once they have lodged themselves in. A lot of villagers falling idle for Mike, and I'm not sure whether or not he's actually got the steam, whether he's got the economy to keep pushing this forward. To be fair, he does have a lot of villagers, but his military is really starting to lack and fall behind now. And if we flick over to his point of view, why is that? I have genuinely no idea. He has a lot of resources that he is sitting on at the moment, so he can afford to queue up a crap ton of Cavalier. I'm not entirely sure why he isn't actually doing that. It's not like he has any shortage of gold. He has a lot of gold over here towards the north of his map. He has had to succeed this gold down here, for example, unfortunately, but this could all have been prevented if he had have just got these walls up while he had map control and was pushing into his opponent's base. To be fair, Cavalier raiding is now coming into the base of Mooshoo, these trees here, providing a nice little choke point for the Rams, for the Cavalier to be able to get into Mooshoo's base. But it's he still needs to find some way to deal with all these pikemen and all these soon-to-be elite eagle warriors inside of his base. And again, the answer to that, my friends, is definitely hand cannons. Hand cannons here would be a huge, huge addition to Mike's army. In saying that, the Imperial Age upgrade seems like to me it's going to be quite far away. Oh, and as I say that, it's not actually that far away at all. I was thinking the Imperial Age upgrade might be quite far away for Mooshoo, owing to the fact that he's sinking a lot of resources into keeping the pikemen and eagle warriors coming out. But no, the Aztec economy, we're kicking into overdrive. Does he have the buildings to actually do it, though? He's got a siege workshop, doesn't have a monastery, and I don't think he has a university either. So it's the buildings that are actually stopping Mooshoo from clicking up to the Imperial Age here, and a lot of Cavalier now getting into the economy from him as well, while stone walls have come up quite decisively and quite well in Mike's base, which is going to stall this little foray, this little contingency of units from Mooshoo getting into Mike's base. So Mike, while he is nice and walled up and safe at home, he can start flooding his opponent now with the Cavalier. And I can only anticipate that we're going to see the Paladin upgrade very, very soon as well. So 56 minutes and 10 seconds game time, we're going to see Paladins coming in from the Persian player. And that is going to be super, super strong. They've fully upgraded cavalry units, fully upgraded Paladin, and he's going to be in a nice position to be able to start pushing in and really taking the fight to his opponent here. But like I said, he's losing. He's not taking cost-effective and cost-efficient fights with his Cavalier and soon-to-be Paladin every time he runs headlong into the spears, or the pikes rather, from his Aztec opponent. Again, he needs something to deal with him. He needs even elite skirmishes, even though the Persians don't actually get bracer, but even some elite skirmishes in here just to do some sort of a damage against the crossbows, some sort of a damage against these pikemen that are running around, starting to pick off all of those Cavalier that he once held near and dear and true. And a bit of a siege train, bit of a ram train coming out now from Mooshoo. Looks like he's going to want to start pushing out and seeing if he can clear out some of this building, just all these buildings and such that are sitting outside of his base. That's a lot of stables having been thrown up for Mike. But the Imperial Age upgrade, that's what we really need to see here from Mooshoo. And unfortunately, he sunk a lot of resources into Eagle Warriors. He sunk a lot of resources into pikemen. And just like what we saw Mike do in the previous games with the scouts and the knights, sinking resources into military production is definitely going to delay your upgrade time. Unfortunately, it is a necessary and a completely necessary thing for Mooshoo to do, because if he halts military production and sinks his resources into the Imperial Age upgrade, he's not going to have enough resources to be able to keep the military production coming out, and he's not going to be able to counter the Cavalier that are inside his base. And in a few seconds time, these Cavalier are going to be transformed into the almighty Persian Paladin. And 1, 2, 3, bam! Nope. Wait, are they Paladin? What? Did he cancel Paladin, or did he lose? Did Mike lose the stable that he was researching Paladin in? Because he hasn't got Paladin, and it was meant to be 56 minutes 10. And it looks like Mike has actually either cancelled that upgrade for some weird-ass reason, or he just completely and utterly lost it. We can check. I think he lost the upgrade. I think he genuinely lost that upgrade. He is doing chemistry now, finally, so hand cannons are going to be able to start coming out. Forward siege workshops coming in for him now as well. And I think Mike did actually lose that Paladin upgrade. I think one of his stables must have been taken down by something. I don't know what the hell would have taken it down. I don't know which stable the Paladin upgrade was coming in, but we definitely don't see Persian Paladins at the moment. What we do see is we see chemistry and town watch coming in now as well. So again, are we going to see any archery ranges being thrown up? Yep, we can see archery ranges having been thrown up for Mike, which is good. Hand cannons coming out here, like I've been saying for quite a while, would really, really, really spell the end once and for all for these infantry units that Mooshoo is chucking out to try and defend against this Paladin horde of cavalry that is currently descending upon his base. But the map control, the army advantage, the village elite 143 to 37, everything is in favor right now for Mike, and I really don't think there's any way to come back for Mooshoo. He's just mined out his last gold. He doesn't have map control to take any other extra golds, which means that you can kiss goodbye to any Eagle Warriors that you want to be producing. This 750 gold that he has is all that he has left. and Mooshoo calling GG on this game number 3 in the best of 5 series between these two players for Division B, Group 4 in the first round of the Australian Open. And now the Paladin upgrade is there. Maybe the Paladin upgrade did come in and something bugged out or something like that. But anyway, the Paladin upgrade did actually come in for Mike, which is quite interesting. So well played from Mike, very very well played. He was under a bit of pressure, losing some villagers to an early drush, and losing some villagers to the follow-up flush as well. But he managed to pull his way back, wall up, and boom his way back into it using the Persian town centers. And that just goes to show that Persian town centers are just so strong, and Persian boom is a very very real thing that you have to be worried about when you're playing against the Persians. So let me change the score over real quick to reflect the fact that Mike is now winning 2-1 in this best of 5 series. Switch the scene back to the spectator overlay, and I'll see you guys very soon for game number 4.